And recording. We need one of those clapper boards.
We do, and a sound guy to do that for us.
An
Where's the camera again on
the
this
camera's
thing?
over here.
Oh, okay.
See where my big finger is.
All right.
So you never guess, but we're in a Vietnamese restaurant today, which is near Thai Mueang, closer to Kok Kloi.
Yeah.
But it's on the
Between
road.
Thai Mueang and Kok Kloi on the southbound lane.
And it's called?
Hoa Sen. Hoa Sen. H-O-A, new word, S-E-N. And I am assuming that the H-O-A is pronounced as they do Hoa Hin, not a Hua, but Hoa. Hoa Hin. So I think this is Hoa Sen.
So
that's a guess.
We're on one of these wobbly tables, and the reason it's wobbling is because I've got two drink or glass stands, and they're sort of balancing on top of each other. So we're very, very wobbly
guerrilla
today.
filmmaking. Folks.
People complain; they love complaining about our wobbly camera.
Well, I think you mention it more than anybody else does.
It wouldn't be the same without it, though.
No, it wouldn't be. It's our signature move.
Now, it's a lovely Vietnamese restaurant, sort of semi-high-so.
Well, I think it has pretensions to high-so. Certainly the prices in the menu are high-so.
I was going to mention that.
They had been closed for a couple of months for redecorating, and certainly the decor is aiming for a very high standard. It's very pretty in here. They've kind of overdone it with the conical hats, but it is very Vietnamese, and to my eye anyway, I've never been there, but it seems legit.
And even the waitresses walk around in the traditional Vietnamese dress, which is called...
Oh, thank you very much. As in China, it's
Chong Sam.
Chong Sam.
In Vietnam, it's
Ai Dao, isn't it?
Ai Dao.
I think it's Ai Dao.
Yes, it's the one with the slit down the side.
Very form-fitting, very long, and slid up the thigh to the hip bone.
And we've bought one each, so we can wear on Friday nights.
The frocks, not the waitresses.
That's right, yes. It's very hard to miss. It's sort of the only two-storey building between Kok Kloi and Turtle Beach. Now, we're sort of lucky to have you here because you are in recovery mode.
Oh, post-surgical. I am post-surgical. I'm lucky to be here. Well, not that anything went wrong, but yeah, I went through on my 66th birthday this week on Monday.
We did say happy birthday last week.
Aw, aren't you sweet? I had just a very common surgery to repair an inguinal hernia, inguinal or inguinal, 50-50, your choice. But at any rate, there was a bulge in my groin that shouldn't have been there, and they
not
went
the
in
usual
and closed
bulge.
it up. No, not the one you want. It's a new bulge you've never seen before, and it's kind of freaky when you first notice it because it's big and it didn't hurt. I never got to the point where it hurt, except when I sneezed. But yeah, it requires surgery to close it. So I went to the government hospital in Phang and was there for 2 nights, and they patched me up and sent me home. It was a fairly positive experience.
Now, you have spoken about it extensively on your weekly program.
Oh, do I have a channel?
Yes.
I have a channel.
It's a YouTube channel called Steve Ross with an E, and you can find out all about the gynecological details of Steve's surgery.
Urological, but yeah, we didn't get anywhere near urology, thank God. It was all lower abdomen.
Although you did get a bit of a shave.
I got a shave and she cut me up. I think the girl has never encountered Semitic body hair, and she kind of butchered me. But it's all in good fun, and I'm sure she was doing her best. But yeah, next time I'll shave myself before I go. I thought I shouldn't do that because it was a bulge. I didn't want to be waving a razor blade around my bulge. But I think next time I'll do it myself and save a lot of
potential problems.
Stinging.
Oh, okay.
Just stinging.
And it's all sort of anyway. It's growing back.
It's itchy.
The most.
From the nipples to the knees. They shave me from the nipples to the knees, and I'm all itchy everywhere.
I don't want to see any of it.
No, I didn't.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
We're sort of got a range, quite a few of these. Something's going on with your collar over there.
Oh.
There we go. So, okay.
We have to start over now.
No, we're not going to start
Now I look
over.
nice.
Well, It's a matter of opinion.
Yeah.
Now, there are a few stories which we might get to, and a few things that people should know about getting surgery in Thailand at a public hospital. One I thought was the cost. I want you, this is them, to guess. You probably know if you watch Steve's channel, but otherwise, how much did Steve's surgery cost in Thai baht? A hernia operation, including a couple of days in hospital, including an interesting shave job, and I imagine a few drugs.
Food is provided, 3 meals a day.
There you go. So how much?
Doctor consultation, anesthetist consultation, anesthesia, PACU, post-anesthesia care unit, the whole 9 yards was 10,500 baht.
Now that is astonishing.
Yeah.
That really is.
Even for Thailand, I think that's amazing. Yeah.
So you
for
were
a farang in Thailand, I think.
You mentioned that you wouldn't even be able to get your teeth cleaned back in the US for that.
That's 300, roughly 300 US.
Yeah.
And no, you wouldn't. And my friend Hans drove me over there. He came back, brought me soap and a towel, because I had forgotten you're supposed to bring your own soap and towel and toothbrush and stuff like that. And Hans, ran errands for me, brought me back home when the whole thing was over. And the only bill for the whole experience was 10,500. Yeah.
So, and a few other cautionary things. The Thai public health system is available to all Thais pretty much free of charge. Obviously, it comes out of taxes, but it's, I think, an excellent public health system.
Yeah.
But if you're out of the main towns, there are a few things that you might be aware of which will help the nurses, which includes...
Well, first of all, may I just say, the reason the healthcare system here is so good is because Rama IX's parents, His Majesty Rama IX's parents, were a doctor and a nurse, and they were in service at Johns Hopkins, I think, in Boston when he was born. So the Queen Mother, his mother, who, when they were called back unexpectedly, and somebody called, one of the regents called and said, "Hey, your son's the king now." They came back, and the Queen Mother had nothing to do, so she made public health her thrust. So since then, which would have been 48, the government has paid for bright young students to go to medical school on the condition when they get out, they do a few years of service, I don't remember how many, but you get all the physicians in the country working in the government hospitals. And I have, both my children were born in government hospitals, and I have had a few experiences, and I have found the care to be quite nice, except that, and I think this is where you were leading.
This is where I was leading, Steve.
Nurses, it's too late now, it's where we are. Nurses, it's a face thing. Nurses didn't go to school for all those years to learn how to be nurses and born smart enough to go to school, and their parents had the money to send them to school so that they could empty your bedpan. They do not think it is their job to empty your bedpan. You are expected, well, first of all, you're expected to be in the hospital with 6 or 7 members of your family around your bed all day long. Your family's going to come visit you in the hospital. Your family's going to come sit with you in the hospital. So your family can make your bed, give you your sponge bath, take your bedpan to the slop room and clean it out for you.
You'll often see when you go to a public hospital that there are the family hanging around, sometimes sleeping on the floor,
sleeping on
next
the floor.
To the bed.
Yeah, every other dude. There were 10 guys in my ward. It was an adult male ward. It was a big open room, and there were 10 of us in there, and 8 Thai guys and 2 Farang, and the 2 Farang were the only 2 in there alone. Everybody else had an old Muslim woman sleeping on a mat next to their bed.
Didn't you sort of shout out, put your hands on hips, go, "Don't you know who I am?"
No, but I did scream, "Where's my old Muslim woman?" And provoked no response.
Yes.
But they studiously ignored me. But yeah, the nurses don't do that kind of stuff, and you are expected to bring somebody who will do that kind of stuff. Forgive me.
We've got the eustachian tube issue.
For 2 days, not a problem. And as soon as we start this show, boing.
You think it's got something to do with nerves?
I do. I think there's an emotional component.
You do get very nervous
sure.
before doing this.
I do. Oh, geez, my blood pressure when they checked me into the hospital was 200/120.
You're kidding.
No, and that's with all the meds on board. That's except the one med that really controls my blood pressure is not available here. It's called eplerenone, sold under the brand name Inspra. And what it is it's a synthetic hormone. I have an adenoma in my right adrenal gland that has been pumping adrenaline into my blood 24/7 since adolescence. And without surgery, there's no way to remove that adenoma. So they give me a faux hormone which will turn off the adrenal glands.
Which makes your breasts very prominent.
Spironolactone, which was the first one they tried, mimics female hormones.
Whoops.
And yeah, I grew a little 13-year-old girl's boobs on my chest, which stay there forever, by the way. The shirt is bulky, you can't see it. But glandular tissue, you can't exercise that away. You can exercise away fat. If you got man boobs, you can exercise and get rid of that. If you have breast tissue, no. You just have breast tissue without surgery to remove it. So I've still got, a couple little cupcakes poking out of my chest. And that was from about 3 weeks on spironolactone. That's all it took. And then I cut that shit off.
So you got a blood pressure of some 200 over...
120.
Okay.
Yeah, anything over 90 is dangerous.
I was going to say, why did they go ahead with the surgery?
Yeah, why? I don't know. They kept taking it, and it did go down. It's called white coat hypertension.
Sure.
Yeah, Steve comes into a new hospital he's never been in before, and his blood pressure goes up. Once he gets in the gown, and they've put the IV in, and Steve has a chance to read a book and settle down, then a little bit. And I think it came down to like 130 over 90 eventually.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah. And they kept taking it. It'd be like 93, 94, 92, 91. They finally got to 90 and said, let's get him in the OR. Zoop.
Quick now.
Off we went.
So I've been 120 over 80 for 64 years.
Braggart.
Very boring.
Nobody likes a show off.
And something when you do go to a Thai doctor, you'll notice that the first thing they do when you walk in is they'll always take your blood pressure. Always. No matter what you're going in for. Ingrown toenail, we've got to check your blood pressure first.
Sure.
Now, there's another tale. Obviously, we'll keep these fairly short because you did talk about them in greater detail on your own program. But without mentioning any names, there was a rather unfortunate person who was sitting across from you or resting across from you. He wasn't in good nick.
Yeah, he's dying. A Central European guy who has spent the last year on Soy Bangla, came with 2 million baht, spent 2 million baht.
Soy Bangla being like the walking street of Phuket.
Yeah, the walking street of Patong Beach. It is the epicenter of everything nasty about Phuket. Why any sane human being would choose to live a year on Soy Bangla, I don't know. Give any Thai person on that street who works on that street or lives on that street the option of going anywhere else and doing anything else, they'll take it. But apparently some white guys want to go there and spend all their money and get themselves sick. Cirrhosis of the liver is one of the things he's dealing with. And he is very visibly in the process of dying. He's in his mid-30s somewhere.
That shocked me. When you told me the story and then left his age till later in the story, I was thinking, he's in his mid-70s or something.
Mid-30s.
Mid-30s.
And he Facebook friended me, and the guy was this big, strapping, strong, weightlifting guy.
Bit like me.
And like you on steroids. But he, a year later, with, I think, the liver shutting down, his arms and legs are like pipe cleaners now. His body is swollen up with ascites, which is fluid that gathers in the peritoneal cavity if your liver's not doing its job. And his skin is gray with a yellow tint. His eyes are yellow. He's in a really, really bad way. He has an open wound on his leg that will not heal. They removed a tumor 10 days ago, and it just won't heal. So they have to have twice a day dressing changes, which are extraordinarily painful. And he howls and cries for morphine. And a lot of that is that after 10 days, I'm sure he's addicted to morphine. After a year on Soy Bangla, 10 days now, he hasn't had a drink. He hasn't smoked a joint. He hasn't taken whatever else he likes to take. So he's jonesing hard. He's in withdrawal from all kinds of stuff.
Jonesing
means in withdrawal.
Right.
He's not getting the drug that he's used, whatever cocktail of drugs he's been used to on soy bang la for a year.
I was going to say, he doesn't have anybody with him either.
No.
Nobody.
I said to him, dude, you need somebody. These nurses are pissed off that they've got to change your linen. They've got to empty your bedpan. They hate that. You need someone here taking care of you. And he said, I don't have anybody. I said, call your family. My family doesn't want to have anything to do with me, and they have no money anyway. I said, call your embassy. Oh, the embassy wouldn't care. He had 1,000 excuses for why he was going to stay there alone until he died. But that's the only outcome of this.
But he wanted to stay there by himself. Do you think he sort of just was over
I don't know. Honestly, I think there's a lot of mental health issues going on. I mean, who chooses to live on soy bang la for a year? You got to be crazy. I think the guy is struggling with mental health issues. Probably he hasn't had his mental health meds in a year. And his car is parked in the parking lot of this hospital. And I heard him on the phone trying to sell his car, and he's telling somebody on Phuket, yeah, it's almost a brand new car. I want 120,000 baht for it. But
that,
no.
By the way, is a very, very, very cheap car.
Yeah, very cheap car. And he said, but it's here in the parking lot at Panga Hospital. He didn't know how to pronounce Panga. And you know, it's Panga Hospital. And but you've got to come up here, and I want cash. I want you to bring me cash. And the person on the phone is saying, well, dude, I'm not going to bring 120,000 baht to Panga. I haven't seen your car. I haven't seen it. And he's saying, no, I don't have photos of it. So, like, they're saying,
but how would he show her the car?
Yeah, I don't know.
He can't get out of his bed.
True. If he doesn't already have a picture on his phone, he can't show her the car. So he's going through all of this stuff. He's going through it alone. He's going through it in pain. And he is pissed off absolutely he won't eat Thai food, which the Thai food there, I had 6 meals there. It was pretty good. You know, it was khao tom for breakfast, boiled rice for breakfast. But lunch and dinner were meals, rice and kap khao, and khao gang. And
they're not going to be making filet mignon for him, or
no, but you could have someone bring in filet mignon. They'd much rather you be supplying your own meals, and they can just, you know, pocket whatever they would normally charge you for meals. But I found the food to be palatable, very good. And he was complaining it was too spicy. He couldn't eat it. It's bland hospital food. I'll give it. It's Thai food, but it's made for the recuperating taste buds. Yeah, it's not spicy. What I had was in 6 meals was not spicy at all. But he's a problem patient, and nobody there. They're all tired to death of him, and they can't get rid of him until this wound heals on his leg, and it just won't heal. And man, if you have to go to a government hospital, which is not. I thought the government hospital was fine. I thought the OR was equipped with the same machines I would see in New Mexico in an OR. The doctor spoke English. Oh, and the fun they were having in the OR. You get 3 Thais together anywhere. It's a party, right? So there were 5 or 6 techs and nurses and doctors and anesthetists in the OR. They were joking around and flirting and singing. And
Steve, they were going...
May have been some of that, yeah, but I'm used to that, of course, my whole life. But yeah, it overall, I think, was a fine experience. So if you ever decide to go to a Thai hospital, just remember, government hospital, bring somebody to take care of your basic dirty needs, and, you know, to bust your tray. They expect you or your helper to take the tray, the lunch tray. The girl from the canteen brings you your food, and then you're expected to get that to the bus tub by yourself. Your helper, the nurses aren't going to pick up your dirty tray from lunch.
And before you
touch your table,
start whinging about this. Remember,
10,500 baht.
There you go.
Yeah, 3 days. I was 2 nights, 3 days in that hospital.
I have to say, look, I'm sure a lot of viewers will have some of them would have heard about experiences, maybe had their own experiences, and sometimes there are negative experiences with the Thai health system. But I and you have both had good experiences. So there you go.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear your bad experiences. All right.
Yeah, I've only had good experiences.
You, the viewer, don't fill up the comment section with, yeah, I went to a government hospital once and they were rude, or they kicked my dog or whatever. I don't care. yeah. Don't waste your time.
I went in Daryl and I came out Darlene. And
yeah, I'm not going to read that.
Have you been to Vietnam?
Never. No, God, no. No.
So, given your last travel experience, I'm not sure whether you should travel anywhere, let alone Vietnam.
No, this is as far as I ever want to go from Turtle Beach. This restaurant right here.
You could pretend you're in Vietnam here. Sort of.
There's enough conical hats around. You see that up there? You see that?
There you go.
That's all over the lamps. The lamps are conical hats glued together. The wall decor is conical hats. There are these conical hats everywhere. That seems to be Vietnam.
It's like the elephant in Thailand. Mm-hmm. So I've been to Ho Chi Minh City. I've been to Da Nang. I've been to Hoi An. Loved them. Had really great experiences in all those locations. I was going to do, as I've mentioned to you before, a car trip from Hanoi down to Ho Chi Minh City, and I thought Steve and I should do it. And I thought that could be a really interesting travel vlog. But given your recent experience,
you need to pick someone else, dude.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, you'd strangle me and leave me in a rice paddy the second
before
day.
We even got
the second
to the airport.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Steve doesn't travel well, and people get very sick of Steve very quickly in a bus and an airplane and a car.
An hour a week's enough for me.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you have worked on some movies about Vietnam.
Well, that I can think of. One, Heaven and Earth, was shot on Phuket while I was there. I got 6 months of work as lead set dresser on Heaven and Earth for Oliver Stone. Yeah.
What was a day in your life as a set dresser? What did you do?
Well, anything that's a prop that is not held in the hand. You've got hand props and you've got set dressing. So, for instance, if this was a set, the scenic artists would have painted this mural. But all of this stuff that's hung on the walls here, I would have brought that in. Those hats, the conical hats. I'll tell you what, any art director who bought that many conical hats for a set like this would be laughed out of the industry. It's too heavy-handed. It's too much of one icon. But at any rate, all the potted plants, the table, the chairs, the silverware, well, not the silverware because that's a hand prop, but everything, laying carpet, tiling bathrooms, plumbing sinks and showers, because you don't want to try to shoot a scene in a real bathroom. It's too small. You can't get the camera around. So any bathroom shot, you've built a set with 4 removable walls. And it's me who puts tiles on those walls, hangs the mirrors, hangs the sinks. And
so you got a credit in the movie?
Department head. When I was in the movies, it cost $500 US to put a name in the credits. So only department heads got credits. Ooh. So if you look at me on imdb.com, I think I've got 6 credits there because I was only department head on 6 movies.
Nice.
But I worked for 8 years. I worked steady every day for 8 years in New York City. But I was only department head on six projects. Wow, I really should have looked at this shirt before I put it on. But at any rate, yeah, so a set dresser dresses the set. It's a very physical job because sometimes the set's on the 3rd floor. You've got to carry all the furniture up there, carry up the carpet, lay down the carpet, carry up the boxes of tile, whatever you're doing, you've got to bring in all these materials. Hair and makeup, everything they use fits in a little bag like this. Camera guys have dollies and things and they can carry around their stuff. But props, it can be something different every single day. Today we're in a restaurant, so it's all the junk associated with the restaurant. Tomorrow we'll be in a car repair shop. It's all the junk associated with a car repair shop. Every single day it's something very different, and I liked it for that reason.
And we were thinking of movies about Vietnam, and we kept on running into the problem that most of them were filmed in Thailand. Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah, Heaven and Earth, the Dumbo Drop, which is a pretty good movie. Oh, Air America. Air America was shot here.
So yeah, a lot of these, because for some reason, I'm not sure why, but American filmmakers weren't allowed in Vietnam for a while.
Casualties of War, Casualties of War, which was called Casualties of Wardrobe. all the crew T-shirts say "Casualties of Wardrobe" because the soldiers in this thing wear the same clothes from the beginning of the movie to the end. Well, it takes you 6-8 weeks to film a movie, and they can't wear dirty clothes. The union says you cannot put an actor in the clothes he wore yesterday. So the costume department was forever looking at Polaroids and trying to recreate the mud and blood spatter on a GI shirt, and it held up production for hours because they just couldn't get it right. And all these close-ups, you're seeing the blood on his collar. It's got to be the same. It's got to look the same, but it's got to be a different shirt every day. Well, so they called it Casualties of Wardrobe.
I had a little bit of a wardrobe problem. We did the Mikado at school. As you know, you private boys' schools, you do every Gilbert and Sullivan that's around.
Yeah.
But the
Three little maids from school are we, filled to the brim with girlish glee.
Well done.
Yeah. Well.
Three little maids from school. Anyway, we won't go on.
I am a merry model of the modern Major General.
No, that's HMS Pinafore.
Oh, that's Pinafore. My bad.
A wandering minstrel I.
A thing of rags and tatters. Patches.
Anyway, the Chinese soldiers. I can't
Mom, I'm using my degree.
I can't remember what happened. There were some Chinese soldiers in it, but they couldn't find any Chinese soldier uniforms, so they gave them Nazi uniforms. So we did the Mikado with Nazis. True story. It had been 1972 Peninsula Boys School, if you want to look it up. Speaking of Good Morning Vietnam, why did I want to speak about Good Morning Vietnam?
We're in a Vietnamese restaurant in Thailand.
Good film. Robin Williams at his best.
Robin Williams and Forrest Whitaker playing a comedic role. I don't think you'll ever see Forrest Whitaker telling a joke in any other movie. Yeah, that's not his shizzle.
Yeah. That's why did we wrote down in our notes, because we have extensive production meetings before the program.
We spend a week preparing for these things.
It usually involves whatever the time is from Turtle Beach to wherever we're recording.
And lunch. We talk over lunch.
But not about the show. How are you going? So what we're going to talk about, ATMs. Why did I write down ATMs?
Because Falang are often seen as walking ATMs.
Sure.
I was telling you about Tien, my next door neighbor.
Go ahead.
Who has lived next to me for a year, sees how I live, sees that I live basically a local lifestyle, and yet still is convinced that I will be the source of the 200,000 baht he needs to open his broccoli store.
But wasn't it already open?
Oh, it was. Yeah, we gave it a shot.
And then it closed.
I didn't give him any money, but I decorated the place. I brought coral and shells and net floats up off the beach. I may have exacerbated this hernia by carrying these big, big rocks from behind my house to put in front of his house to decorate it, to make it look, beachy. I did invest 3,000 baht in a pickup truck full of sand to put sand down on the ground.
That's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. And he will reopen.
He will
reopen. He has found money somewhere. He's done little dribs and drabs. But because I'm white, and I live right next door to him, and he's never been this close to a white person before, he will not be convinced that I don't have 200,000 baht in my pocket to give to him. And he brings me little gifts, little fried fish or whatever. His brother's a fisherman. He comes from 7 generations of fishermen.
Who isn't a fisherman in Turtle Beach?
Yeah, exactly. But he brings me fish, he brings me fruit, he waves at me when I go by on my motorcycle.
In the hope
that I will be a walking ATM. Push the right buttons, money comes out. And wherever we go in this country, I think it's not just in the Farangueros, it's not just in Pattaya, Phuket, Chiang Mai, Hua Hin, and Bangkok. But anywhere we go, we will be seen as a potential resource, a source of funds. And they will smile and say, "Hi, how are you? My friend, my friend, my friend, where you go?" And, there was one guy in the hospital ward who saw 2 Falang. And this guy's here for I don't know what. He's getting some surgery. It was a surgery ward. And I left before he had his procedure, so I don't know. But boy, this guy, he had like 10 words of English, and he was going to use them all on me and this other guy. And where you come from, how long you stay Thailand, yada, 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 yada. And it's all, he's not doing that with any other the Thai guys in there. He's not asking them what province do you come from, what you know. He's trying to suck up to the white guys because we are seen as fabulously wealthy and ignorant. And I think the reason that perception exists is because by and large, historically, it has been correct.
Yeah.
It has been historically easy to get money out of white people here.
And we fall victim to that situation often.
No, I think we are participatory victims. I think we are willing victims in most cases. And I've been there. I have been suckered by any number of Thai people.
Me too.
Yeah, you know, and it's part, at the level that I get suckered now, it's part of the fun.
Sure.
I mean, it's not, you know, I buy a pair of rubber shoes in the local market, and they're one size too small for me, so my heel hangs off the end. And they got a tag on them that says 100 baht. And the lady says, Roy Hasip Ka. You know, it doesn't fit me, and it's marked at 100 baht. She wants 150 baht for it with a big smile, you know. So, you know, it's part of the fun at this point, at the level at which I operate. But, you know, it can be that people who've lost their shirts, plenty of guys, gone home, pissed off at Thailand forever and flat broke, looking for work at 60, 65, 70 years old.
We do often see the phenomenon of the Caucasian, the Mueang, sort of seen as the white ATM connected to a bar girl experience.
Oh, yeah.
But it happens in so many other walks of life.
Yeah.
For example, I mean, we're both in the same situation where I'm more recent than you, but we're both relatively recent arrivals at Turtle Beach. And we've been sized up as a source of something. We're a resource for the local community.
Yeah.
And I have had, just over the past week, probably 10 different people arrive on my doorstep. I don't know them, and they're offering me a place to rent.
Yeah.
Because, this guy is wanting to rent places. He'll pay top dollar.
Yeah, and after 3 years of COVID, everybody's hungry. I mean, it is not simple greed. It is part of survival. Like I have said before, every relationship in this country is transactional. And it can be a good relationship. You know, men and women in this country have a transactional marriage their entire lives, and they're both happy with that, and they raise happy, healthy children. But you have to go into it knowing that this guy, when he's smiling at you, my friend, my friend, my friend, he's going ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching in his head. And yeah, you will be seen as a potential resource.
And not necessarily in a malicious way.
No.
It's just you're...
Yeah, got to make a living.
You're visiting the country, you're a resource. And it's sometimes in a larger, wider way. I think the TAT see tourists much the same way.
Yeah.
Whenever they're quoting, the TAT quoting how clever they've been, they're always saying how much money has been brought in the country every month.
Yeah.
And they're saying they want the Chinese to come back because they spend more money than anybody else. So we want more Chinese.
Yeah.
So this is
that's the value. It's all transactional.
The perspective.
And look, you know, for what, 100 years, they have seen foreigners come to these red light areas and pay thousands and thousands and thousands of baht for what Thai men get for 100 baht. And the white guys are happy after it happens. The white guys have no idea they've paid 100 times more than what anybody else pays for that product.
Not quite 100 times.
I exaggerate to make a point. I'm sorry. But yeah, they see white people coming, oh, look, there's an elephant. Here's 50 baht. The guy you're handing 50 baht has never gone a day without seeing an elephant in his life. And you're handing him 50 baht for what he does as routinely as move his bowels. He sees an elephant, you know. And so they see us, they've seen us doing this for 100 years, coming here and just spewing, hemorrhaging money left and right and smiling while we're doing it. And when we go home, we say, oh, thank you, with our newly learned whys. And the tourists say, I'll be back next year. That's why everybody knows how to say, see you next year. right? We come back again and again and again for the same experience, and they just see us as shedding money right and left. So, you know, how could 3 generations now have watched white people come to this country and hemorrhage money? So how could they not have that impression of us as walking ATMs? That's how I would look at somebody like that.
So we'd like to hear your tales of perhaps being seen or used as an ATM, be it for good or for bad. And most of the time, in the experiences you and I have had, or maybe once not, but often it's not malicious. Sometimes it can be. But even if it is, it's usually done with a smile.
Oh, always done with a smile.
Sure.
And here's another thing, all right?
We're at table 15, just in case.
Oh, right. If you want to find us, we're at table 15.
Just noticed.
So some guy comes here, and he goes to the Phalang ghettos, and he goes to Soi Bangla, or he goes to Walking Street, and he pays, let's say, 2,000 baht for what the Thai bartender gets for 100 baht, right? But at home, he can't get that at all. This guy, what he's paying 2,000 baht for would be so out of his reach back home that he is happy to pay 2,000 baht for that. And they see the happiness in his eyes, and he may even marry this woman who's providing this product, which a Thai guy would never do. He may, well, I take that back. A lot of Thai prostitutes are married to Thai men. But my point is that he's happy with the transaction, even though he's paying not 100 times more, but several times more than a Thai person would. They see that he's overjoyed. He keeps coming back again and again and again, paying 2,000 baht, 2,000 baht, 2,000 baht, or 3 or 4. And they have no reason to think he feels bad about this transaction, so they're not going to feel bad about this transaction. And they're going to try to sell him something else. And if they can, they'll sell him something else after that, and selling something else after that.
So we'd be interested in your comments on this particular phenomenon, what you've been caught up with over the years. Have you been here long enough, it would have happened a few times. Yeah. And I'll admit it's happened to me as well.
Sure.
And it's still happening to me, although I'm a little bit wiser, and you just sort of go smile and, sorry, no, and bye-bye.
You just have to make sure, know your budget and know what you can spend and afford to lose. If you spend X on product Y, and you either end up with product Z instead or no product at all, you have to be able to grin and bear that. You have to be able to shrug that off, right? Don't invest. This guy, if you can trust what he said, the guy in the hospital, he spent a year on Soi Bangla and spent 2 million baht, every baht he had in a year on Soi Bangla. Don't do that, okay? Don't.
2 million.
2 million baht in 365 days.
5,400 baht a day.
5,000 baht a day. That's 5,479 baht a day. That's my rent. That's my monthly rent. He's spending in a day. How many 60 baht changs do you have to drink? Enough to kill your liver, apparently. But yeah, you just have to make sure that whatever you're betting, and every time you put money on a table, you're betting. I'm betting that this meal will be worth this amount of money. I'm betting this person will provide services to me equal to this amount of money. And you're going to lose some of those bets, man. Las Vegas exists because people lose, right? So
yes. Nobody opened a casino to give away money.
No, be prepared to lose. And if you win, that'll be a happy surprise. But be prepared to get taken to the bank. Be ready to lose.
And with that, we thank you for popping along today. You've done well. That's it.
Oh, okay.
It's a slightly shorter version today because
you're going to do a lot of cutaways of the restaurant.
We will do some cutaways of the restaurant. You are recovering, so I'm aware of
my frailty.
You are very frail.
I'll need you to carry me down the stairs.
Hasn't done much to slow down the voice, but anyway, thank you for coming. You've got your own YouTube channel. It's Steve Ross with an E. There's also a link in the description to last week's Grumpy Old Men. There's also a link to my Airbnb, which is the place next door, which is currently for rent, which is a very nice beach house. I've got Thai staying there this weekend, so I'm getting a bit of my own money back from them this time.
Yeah, some people can do that. Yeah,
Sure.
good for you. This guy, if anybody can do that, this guy can.
And also, what else was I going to...
Is there a link to my books on Amazon?
Oh, yeah, there's a link to your books.
Yeah,
and an email if you want.
You've never read any of my books, have you?
No, I haven't.
You used to publish me. And you haven't read any of my books?
No, not yet. As I mentioned, I will go and watch the movie. I'm just not much of a reader these days.
Well, when they make a movie from my life story, you can go with me to the premiere.
Well, I'll be in it.
They have to do it before George Clooney ages out of the role. So, yeah.
And with that, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Gee, subscribe has been hard to get the last month. It's been very thin on the ground. So please subscribe, do the right thing. Hope your recovery continues.
Thank you. I do too.
We got through the last 40 minutes without seeing the scar, and that's the way it's going to be. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Love you.